Hello.
Hello. Is it a plane or is it Superman?
Or is it a banana?
Oh, well, I don't know. You can find out later in the programme.
Also coming up on Blue Peter today, the secrets of cinema tricks that amazed filmgoers 90 years ago. Let's hope we don't disappear in a puff of smoke. A present you can make for Easter. And news about our mega competition.
Actually, looking at it, I think it's a big yellow submarine.
Oh, don't be stupid, John. Submarines aren't yellow. Come, Bonnie.
Well, that's not the only unusual vehicle here today, but I'm not going to give you a prize for guessing who this one belongs to. Cinderella is the National Youth Ballet's latest production, and it's having its world premiere on Thursday. Dancing the title role is Victoria Taylor. Having run around all day looking after her ugly sisters, Cinder sits down exhausted in front of the fire. As she falls asleep, a host of fairies appear from out of the flames. Now, as every girl knows, to get to the ball, it helps to have a fairy godmother. She's the one who can make a coach and attendants out of a pumpkin and a handful of animals. And the person responsible for the touch of magic in this production, the lady playing the fairy godmother, is Maria Rowland. How do you become a member of the National Youth Ballet?
There are national auditions held every year, and it's very competitive. People come from all over the country to audition, and there's a wide range of ages.
And who's the youngest?
I am
You, how old are you?
8.
What sort of standard are they looking for?
Well, you have to be in grade 1 or above.
And what standard are you?
Elementary.
How old are you?
12.
12 and you've done elementary. I was 14 when I did that. It must be very difficult to arrange rehearsals when you live in so many different areas of the country.
Yeah, well, I live in North Yorkshire and it's hard to come because it costs so much.
So mums and dads have to help out a
Yeah.
lot, do they? Are you doing any other productions?
We were performing Water Babies and the National Dances.
And whereabouts are you doing all that?
This Thursday, Friday and Saturday we're performing at the Ashcroft Theatre Croydon, and on Tuesday the 13th of April we're doing a gala performance in aid of Bernardo's at Sadler's Wells Theatre in London.
Well, good luck. I know you don't need it there, and we'll be seeing a little bit later of you at the end of, more of you, sorry, at the end of the programme.
I could never work out how to do this. Very painful. On Thursday, we launched our big new competition for you to nominate the Museum of the Year. At the moment, it's both the Manchester Museum of Science and the Imperial War Museum, but they were chosen by adults. In our competition, it's children, some of the main visitors to museums, who are going to choose. There are some fabulous prizes for the top 9 prize winners in 3 age groups: 7s and under, 8s, 9s and 10s, and 11s to 15.
Third prize winners get a great goodie bag packed to the full. Second prize winners will also win a goodie bag plus one of these compact cameras. And 3 lucky first prize winners will get one of these IBM PS1 386 personal computers, also with a goodie bag. And for the 2,000 runners-up, we have specially printed notebooks and a Blue Peter competition badge. They're definitely something to treasure, as Blue Peter badges provide free entry to well over 100 places of interest, most of them museums.
When you visit a museum, this might be the sort of thing that catches your eye. All the way from Abbey House Museum in Leeds is the Working Street Piano. Let's have a quick check, shall we? Music to my ears. It's usually making music in their Victorian street recreation. Whew. What do you remember most about a museum you visited? And if you've never been to a museum, now's your chance. If you visit one over the Easter holidays, you can watch out for this poster. They're up at nearly all the museums and galleries around the country. Draw a picture of your favourite museum. Maybe it's the outside, the best display, or even the guard. Or you can write describing the museum that gets your vote. So whether it's written or drawn, use one side of a piece of paper roughly this size, and then put your name, age, and address on the back, plus the name of the museum you'd like to see become the first ever Children's Museum of the Year.
Well, we shall be judging the top 3 museums ourselves, but then the fun really starts. Those 3 museums will be visited by 6 pupils from Lee Bank Junior and Lee Bank High School in Birmingham, and they know a good museum when they see one. The Birmingham Museum and Art Gallery is just one of the museums which the pupils regularly visit as part of their schoolwork, and contains everything from rocks to exhibits that you can actually touch. So what kind of things will they be looking out for?
What do you like about this thing, Barry? I like it because it's a proper Egyptian alphabet and you can even spell your name on it. My name's Gary, so I'll just go G-A-R-Y.
I like Egyptian writing because I can trace my name and I put my letters underneath it so people can know.
Greta, look at these. They're maps from all over the world. Look, this one's very nice. It's got loads of patterns on them. The way it's carved out is brilliant.
What don't you like about those?
Wow, really, the writing is much too small. It could be much bigger. And the other thing is that, well, you can't really touch these, but you can touch the ones over here. This is one of the best things in this museum. It is called the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and it is the life size. It has got the scales and wrinkles that the Tyrannosaurus Rex would have. But one of the best things about it is its teeth.
And the Egyptian Gallery?
In here we have a mummified cat, a mummified falcon, a mummified sheep, and a proper mummy, and many different mummies. It's quite interesting if you look, but the background could be much better. Like that one over there. It's a beautiful background. It's got sand and everything there. It shows you what the background would be really like. The information in here is quite interesting, but it's quite boring as well. As I say, it's not horrible and it's not really good, but it's just in between. But they could do lots more stuff.
Send your entry to this address: Blue Peter Museums, PO Box 20, BBC TV, London W12 6BP. The closing date isn't until April the 20th, so you've got the whole Easter holiday to have a really good think and send us your nomination.
Go on, get the baddie!
Moving pictures like those you're looking at now have only existed for about 100 years. But who was the Steven Spielberg of a century ago? Well, a special exhibition at London's Museum of the Moving Image holds the answer. In 1895, a French magician, Georges Méliès, paid a visit to a performance of a newfangled device called a cinematograph. He was fascinated by what he saw and wanted to show the new invention in his own magic theatre.
Méliès was in the audience at one of the very first moving picture shows, an early film performance. He offered to buy the equipment from a Monsieur Lumière, the then owner, but no luck. Lumière was supposed to have said at the time Méliès couldn't possibly know how to use the equipment. Not to be put off, Méliès built his own system, and there began one of the most extraordinary film careers of all time. Méliès wasn't interested in the everyday. He loved the weird and wonderful world he discovered he could create through the camera. Back at the end of the last century, people were potty about magic shows. The public couldn't get enough of stage illusions, and Méliès had already made a lot of money out of his magic performances in the theatre. Now he put his efforts into creating film magic, even hand-tinting thousands of film frames with colour. Méliès is perhaps best known as the inventor of film special effects. He discovered many tricks that are still used today. If you stopped a camera halfway through a scene, moved the people around, then started the camera again, you could make things and people appear and disappear. Watch. We'll film a bit of action with me in an old-style black and white film. I'm going to play a magician. Then we cut the camera. Cut! Now I have to stand here very still so I don't appear to jump about on the film. Now for the next bit, I need the help of my lovely assistant, Miss Anthea Turner.
How do I look?
You look as if you've just come off the Christmas tree.
Well, in that case, something that looks like it's just come off the Christmas tree is what a magician's assistant 100 years ago looked like.
If you say so. Go and stand on your mark. Now all I have to do is to look as if I've completed the trick successfully, and for Anthea to look as if she's just appeared from nowhere.
Act one, take one, action!
And this is what it looks like, all put together. loved this trick. See if you can spot the joins in this melee scene when a crowd of people try to pump up a flattened policeman. This stop-action technique is the same as that used today to animate models like Morph. Roll up. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Only 10 minutes till the picture show starts. Roll up. Come on. See Monsieur Méliès's latest amazing tales. It wasn't just Méliès's special effects that made his films famous. He also started the whole idea of film fantasy. Modern films like E.T. and Hook are part of a tradition that stretches right back to Méliès. To create his world of fantasy, Méliès designed a special glass building. This is a model of it, one of the world's first purpose-built film studios. It's all made of glass because they didn't have any proper filming lighting then. They had to use daylight, often waiting hours on end for the clouds to clear. And all the films were silent, so Méliès could shout at the actors and actresses whilst filming to tell them what to do. Action! All right, ladies, come on, dance around a bit then. Yes, hit those tambourines, well done. Okay, let's have the policeman on. Policeman on, get those dancers on. Come on. Cue the man with the funny hat. Thank you very much. Okay, bring in the car. Thank you. Up you go, up you go. And push it back. That's right. Now, up you go again. Come on, hit the front. That's lovely. And again, excellent, fantastic, well done. Sadly, Méliès's film career was short-lived. The big studios took over and there was no room for an individual like him. In a fit of rage, he destroyed most of his films. He turned up here, selling toys in a railway station in Paris, but he could still entrance customers with his magic tricks. Fortunately, before he died, Méliès came to be recognized as a movie genius again, the father of film fantasy.
Oh, they don't make them like they used to. This week is the most holy week of the year for Christian people, and with Easter Sunday almost upon us, it's time to prepare a traditional Easter decoration. And this is just the thing, little Easter chicks. Well, as table decorations, they'd make lovely Easter presents, especially if you fill a basket like this full of all these little chocolate eggs. Now, you've probably guessed that the head and body are made from cotton wool balls. So to begin with, you get a cotton wool ball and carefully uncurl it, and then get another one and wrap it up in it. And then when you get to the end, get a little bit of glue, and then just dab that on the end there and stick it into place. Put that at the back so you don't see all that. And then turn it up so the curly bits on the top and the smooth bits at the front. Get another ball of cotton wool, and this is going to be the head. Put a little blob of glue on the neck and put that into place so the smooth bits facing you. And while you're waiting for that to dry, you can make the bonnet. And for that, just get a oblong piece of card long enough to go from one side of the neck over the head and to the other side of the neck, and about 3.5 centimetres wide. Fold that in half, and then draw a curve along the top there, cut that out, and that will be the pattern for your bonnet. So you can make loads and loads on coloured paper. Now I've made this one on blue. And then to decorate that, I've just used a bit of a leftover bit of doily, but you can always paint it or colour it with felt pens or coloured pencils. And the reason I'm winding it around my finger is that when it undoes, you've got a bonnet shape there. Once you've done that, get another bit of glue and just put a touch in the corners, right near the straight edge, and then fit that on to the head of your little chick and pinch it tight there so that it really holds into place. And while that's waiting to dry, you want to make the mouth and the beak. And for that, just get another bit of paper, orange, fold that in half, and draw a U shape. And with the open side up on the fold, cut that out, and quack! You've got a beak there for your duckling. This is a duckling, you can tell, because it's got a round beak, it's a pointed one. And put a tiny little bit of glue on the fold, and then stick it into place, and then you're ready to make the eyes. Now for my eyes, I've used some little beads And the reason I'm using a cocktail stick to hold them on is so that I don't get glue all over my fingers. Now the trick here is just to put a tiny little bit of glue, just a dab of glue, and then stick that into place. I'm using beads, but if you've got a younger brother and sister that you want to give this to as a present, it might be a good idea to use some coloured paper for the eyes because the beads could be a bit dangerous. So a tiny little bit of glue, and stick them really close, just above the beak at the top there. And look, your little duckling's coming alive there. And the final trim is just a little bow. Again, just a touch of glue on the side there. And put that on the side, little duckling. And all your duckling needs now is a nest. For that, I've just used one of those bright coloured yoghurt cartons. And I've cut that down to size and cut out the sides to make them look like petals. And I've also made some little flowers there out of some paper, coloured paper. Put a little chick in there. Now that would make a lovely present on its own, but if you want to make a bigger one, I've just used some card here, which is from the side of a cereal packet, which I've painted green. You can cover it green if you like. Put your chick on there. And then I got this little twig out of the garden and put lots of bright coloured paper flowers on there and some modelling clay at the bottom to hold it on the base. And then the best bit of all, I've done, oh, this one's falling out. Got another little nest, but this time with a little Cadbury's egg in there. And then a little Easter egg in there. But if you're going to give this to your mother for, say, her breakfast in bed, you can always put a boiled egg in there. Now, if you want to ring the changes, you could use one of these empty cheese portion packets. I've painted mine a bright colour yellow because it's a nice Easter colour, but you can choose whatever colour you like. And then I've used a hard, stiff bit of card for the handle and some more flowers on the side to decorate it. And I've shredded some tissue paper in there and put my two little chicks in and a little egg in the middle there. So whether you're going to celebrate Easter or just the arrival of spring, these chicks will look great on any table.
Anything Americans can do, Brits can do better. After Elvis's guitar on Thursday, today it's the turn of those mop-headed chaps from Liverpool, the Fab Four, the Beatles.
The Beatles shot to fame with their first album, Please Please Me, back in 1962. Many other albums soon followed, such as With the Beatles, A Hard Day's Night, and Beatles for Sale. Back in 1993, the Beatles themselves may not be for sale, but the largest collection of Beatles memorabilia will be sold at Phillips in London later this month. This is the largest exhibit. It's a 6-metre-long yellow submarine based on the famous song written by John Lennon and Paul McCartney back in 1967. And what's unusual about the song is it was one of the few sung by the drummer Ringo Starr. The song was released as part of an animation at a time when pop music went through a strange psychedelic period. Beatles psychedelia reached all parts of the globe. None of these instruments were played. They were only props for album covers. But this piano was played. It belonged to John Lennon, which he used in the early days of Beatledom. I wonder if it still works. Let's have a go, shall we? What would you do if I sang out a tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ear and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. Talking about friends, this is one of them. Paul McCartney, of course, is left-handed, hence a left-handed guitar. George Harrison wasn't left-handed, but he did have a 12-string acoustic guitar, which is also one he used. But I don't know quite what happened to his feet.
Well, Beatles fans wanted to see their heroes everywhere. Real fans of the Fab Four not only had music and songs to keep themselves happy, the Beatles appeared on all kinds of merchandising, from bottles of wine to calendars. As a fan, you could have a cup of tea from a Beatles mug, put it down on a Beatles tablecloth, and when you fancied listening to some Beatles music, you could go up to your bedroom and just shut those Beatles curtains.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. Well, I wonder if one day there'll be a sale of old Blue Peter memorabilia. Wonder how much we'll get for this
I
one.
wonder if I get to play drums for the third programme in a row.
Don't let him play those drums.
We'll be back on Thursday when you can find
Just get
out
the hang
why
of it.
the toad crossed the road. Sounds
Certainly
like
to
a
get away
joke.
from used to,
Don't
actually.
knock it. And we're going to leave you with another extract from the new ballet Cinderella, as performed by members of the National Youth Ballet, complete with Ugly Sisters and Prince Charming. Oh, hold on a second. Bye.